a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. German submarine U-47, 1938. German submarine U-47 was a Type 7B U-boat of Nazi Germany's navy during World War II. She was laid down on the 25th of February 1937 at Friedrich Krupp Germaniawerft in Kiel as Yard No. 582, and went into service on the 17th of December 1938 under the command of Günther Prien. During U-47's career, she sank a total of 31 enemy vessels and damaged 8 more, including the British battleship on the 14th of October 1939. U-47 ranks as one of the most successful German U-boats of World War II. Design: German Type 7B submarines were preceded by the shorter Type VIIB submarines. U-47 had a displacement of 753 tons when at the surface and 857 tons while submerged. She had a total length of 66.50 meters, a pressure hull length of 48.80 meters, a beam of 6.20 meters, a height of 9.50 meters, and a draft of 4.74 meters. The submarine was powered by 2 Germaniawerft F-46 4-stroke, 6-cylinder supercharged diesel engines producing a total of 2,800 to 3,200 PS for use while surfaced. 2 IGU 468 276 double-acting electric motors producing a total of 750 PS for use while submerged. She had 2 shafts and 2 1.23 meters propellers. The boat was capable of operating at depths of up to 230 meters. The submarine had a maximum surface speed of 17.9 knots and a maximum submerged speed of 8 knots. When submerged, the boat could operate for 90 nautical miles at 4 knots. When surfaced, she could travel 8,700 nautical miles at 10 knots. U-47 was fitted with 5 53.3 cm torpedo tubes, 14 torpedoes, 1 8.8 cm SKC/35 naval gun, 220 rounds, and 1 2 cm C/30 anti-aircraft gun. The boat had a complement of between 44 and 60. Service history: U-47 carried out 10 combat patrols and spent a total of 238 days at sea. She sank 31 enemy ships and damaged 8 more. Prior to her disappearance in March 1941, U-47 lost 1 crewman, Heinrich Manteich, who fell overboard on 5 September 1940. First patrol: U-47 was assigned to the 7th U-boat flotilla on the 17th of December 1938. She was an operational boat in the 7th flotilla for her entire career. U-47 was sent to sea in a preemptive move before war broke out in September 1939. This move would enable her to engage enemy vessels as soon as the war began. She left for her first war patrol on the 19th of August 1939, from the port of Kiel. During her first patrol, she circumnavigated the British Isles and entered the Bay of Biscay to commence patrol of Area I. On the 3rd of September, war was declared and U-47 received orders to initiate hostilities against British ships, but none were encountered on the first day. News of the sinking of By reached Prien the following day, along with further orders to strictly adhere to the submarine protocol. The first ship encountered by U-47 during the war was a neutral Greek freighter which Prien inspected, but released unharmed. 2 further neutral vessels were encountered and Prien declined to even stop them. Just after dawn on the 5th of September, Engelbert Indras, serving as first watch officer aboard U-47, spotted SS Bosnia zigzagging and in a darkened state. Prien surfaced and fired a single shot from his 88mm deck gun to stop the ship, but instead Bosnia made steam and began radioing an alert along with its name and position. Prien then immediately fired an additional 4 rounds, of which 3 hit the ship, prompting its crew to abandon ship. U-47 rendered assistance to the crew of Bosnia, bringing them aboard the submarine and helping to set up a lifeboat which had capsized during the crew's escape. A Norwegian vessel also arrived and took all of the survivors aboard. Following its departure, Prien fired a single torpedo which wrecked the ship, which sunk with its load of sulfur almost immediately. The 2,407-ton Bosnia became the second British vessel, and first freighter, sunk after Athenia. It was later the next day during which U-47 encountered a larger British freighter, the 4,086-ton SS Rio Carlo. Again, Prien opted to surface and initiate a gun attack on the merchant. While the Rio Carlo did stop moving, it nonetheless broadcast the submarine alert, prompting Prien to fire an ineffective warning shot. A further 3 shots from the deck gun onto the bridge of Rio Carlo, upon which the broadcast ceased and the crew abandoned ship. Once the crew was away, Prien finished the vessel and sent its mixed cargo to the bottom with a single torpedo. While U-47's crew was inspecting the lifeboats and ensuring the survivors had provisions, an aircraft appeared and U-47 dived, departing the area and leaving the crew to others to rescue. On the 7th of September, Prien encountered yet another British freighter, and once again initiated a surface attack on it. Attempting to escape, SS Gartoven broadcast the submarine alert, drawing fire from the deck gun. The mast and radio antenna were destroyed by the fire, and the ship came about while the crew put to in a lifeboat. Surprising Prien, the Gartoven crew had rigged the ship to get underway in an attempt to ram the attacking submarine. It began to make steam after its crew departed, and Prien was forced to take emergency measures to avoid the vessel. After avoiding the abandoned Gartoven, Prien inspected the lifeboat, and after its crew declined the offer to fetch a second lifeboat from the circling freighter, he left them. Prien refused to radio for assistance on account of the attempt to ram him. He returned to Gartoven and attempted to finish her as he had his previous victims, but the torpedo malfunctioned and Prien instead used the deck gun to wreck the ship and sink its cargo of iron ore. During this first patrol, which ended with her arrival in Kiel on the 15th of September 1939, 3 vessels were sunk for a total of 8,270 tons. Sinking of HMS Royal Oak. On the 8th of October 1939, U-47 began her second patrol. On the 14th of October 1939, she succeeded in penetrating the Royal Navy's primary base at Scapa Flow. Although most of the home fleet was not at the base at the time, U-47 managed to find a target, the battleship. Once she had spotted Royal Oak, she opened fire with her torpedoes. Her first 2 salvos did nothing more than sever an anchor chain. After reloading the boat tubes, the last salvo of 3 torpedoes struck the British warship, causing severe flooding. Taking on a list of 15 degrees, her open portholes were submerged, worsening the flooding and increasing the list to 45 degrees. Royal Oak sank within 15 minutes with the loss of over 800 men. Following the attack, Prien received the nickname Stier von Scapa Flow. The emblem of a snorting bull was then painted on the conning tower of U-47, and the image soon became the emblem of the entire 7th U-boat flotilla. Prien was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross, the first sailor of a U-boat and the second member of the Kriegsmarine to receive this decoration. The rest of the crew members were awarded the Iron Cross. 2 other U-47 crew members also earned the Knight's Cross later on during World War II. The chief engineer Johann Friedrich Wessels and first watch officer Engelbert Indras. Many years later, in September 2002, one of the unexploded torpedoes that U-47 had fired during the attack on Royal Oak rose to the surface from its resting place on the bottom. The unexploded torpedo, minus its warhead, gradually drifted towards the shore, where it was spotted by a crewman aboard the Norwegian tanker Petrotrim. A Royal Navy tugboat intercepted the torpedo, and after identifying it as having belonged to U-47 63 years earlier, VIIB personnel discarded it a mile from shore. On the 16th of April 2016, Royal Navy bomb disposal experts detonated a World War II torpedo found in Scapa Flow in Orkney. It is believed to have been one of those fired at Royal Oak by a German U-boat in 1939. Third Patrol. Following a lavish celebration in Berlin for the sinking of HMS Royal Oak, in which the crew members of U-47 were received by Adolf Hitler and decorated, the boat returned to sea on the 16th of November 1939. Once the U-boat had left Kiel on the 16th of November, she headed out into the North Sea. After travelling around the British Isles into the Bay of Biscay and the English Channel, U-47 sank a further 3 vessels, Navasota on the 5th of December, the Norwegian steamer MV Britta on the 6th of December and Tajanden on the 7th of December. Following the sinking of Navasota, British destroyers briefly fired depth charges at the U-boat, but she managed to safely evade the attack without any damage. 4th Patrol. U-47 left the port of Wilhelmshaven and began her 4th patrol on the 11th of March 1940. For 19 days, she roamed the North Sea in search of any Allied convoys. However, she only managed to torpedo the Danish steam merchantman Britta north of Scotland on the 25th of March. Following the sinking of Britta, U-47 returned to Wilhelmshaven on the 29th of March. 5th Patrol. U-47's 5th patrol was her first one that resulted in no ships sunk. She left Wilhelmshaven on the 3rd of April 1940, and headed once again out into the North Sea. While she did not sink any Allied vessels on her 5th patrol, around the 19th of April, she fired a torpedo aimed at the British battleship, but the torpedo missed its target or failed to detonate upon impact. Several nearby destroyers attempted to sink the U-boat using depth charges. U-47 managed to escape. 6th Patrol. U-47's 6th patrol was much more successful. Having left Kiel on the 3rd of June 1940, she ventured out into the North Sea and operated off the southern coast of Ireland, along with 6 other U-boats in Wolfpack Prien. She attacked convoy HX-47, and the first ship to fall victim to the U-boat was the British vessel, SS Balmoralwood, which was sunk on the 14th of June. Within less than a month, the boat sank a further 7 vessels. San Fernando on the 21st, Catherine on the 24th, Lenda and Letitia on the 27th, Empire Toucan on the 29th, Georgios Kyriakides on the 30th, and on the 2nd of July. The German submarine returned to Kiel on the 6th of July after 34 days at sea, and 8 enemy vessels sunk. 7th Patrol. U-47's 7th patrol consisted of her travelling north of the British Isles and into the North Atlantic, south of Iceland. During a period of 30 days, she sank a total of 6 enemy vessels and damaged another. U-47's first victory during her 7th patrol was the sinking of the Belgian passenger ship Ville de Mons on the 2nd of September 1940. This was followed by the sinking of a British vessel, Titan, on the 4th of September, and Gros, José de Larrinaga, and Neptunian on the 7th. On the 9th, U-47 sank the Greek merchant ship Poseidon, and on the 21st of September she damaged the British merchant ship Elmbank. Following these victories, on the 25th, U-47 entered the French port of Lorient, which was now under German control following the decisive Battle of France. 8th Patrol. U-47's 8th patrol began on the 14th of October 1940 when she left her home port of Lorient. While her 8th patrol lasted 10 days, she sank 4 enemy vessels and damaged a further 2 in only 2 days. On the 19th of October, U-47 damaged the British vessel Sherach and sank Uganda and Wundby, both of which were British registered. The next day, the U-boat damaged the British vessel Athol Monarch and sank La Estancia as well as Whitford Point. She returned to port 3 days later on the 23rd. 9th Patrol. U-47 left her home port of Lorient on the 3rd of November 1940 and moved out into the North Atlantic in search of Allied convoys. During her 9th patrol, she damaged 3 ships, Gonzalo Velho, Conchon Dunsley, and sank another, Ville d'Arlon. U-47 returned to Lorient for the last time on the 6th of December. Disappearance. U-47 departed Lorient on her 10th and last patrol on the 20th of February 1941. She went missing on the 7th of March 1941 and was believed at the time to have been sunk by the British destroyer West of Ireland, when a submarine was attacked by Wolverine, and post-war assessment showed that the boat attacked there which was only damaged. To date, there is no official record of what happened to U-47, although a variety of possibilities exist, including mines, a mechanical failure, a victim of her own torpedoes, or possibly a later attack that did not confirm any claims by the corvette team of and. U-47 had a crew of 45 officers and men during her last North Atlantic patrol in early 1941, all of whom were presumed to have died. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?